All right, it's gradually getting to that time where we're going to learn. We're about to start another learning adventure in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, it'll be time for our webinar. So I bid you welcome. Wherever you are trying to join this webinar, I say welcome. Welcome. Just grab a comfortable chair. All right, it's gradually getting to that time where we're going. Okay. I want to confirm if I'm audible enough, especially those on our YouTube stream. I would like to confirm if we can hear me. If you're on the YouTube stream right now, kindly confirm if you can hear me before we kickstart everything so that we know we're not talking and we're doing dead air. If you're on the YouTube stream right now, please confirm you can hear me. Our guest is waiting in the wings already. She's super, super ready for us. Let's just confirm if those on the YouTube stream can hear. I'll be with you shortly so that we'll confirm and we'll set and we'll say 1, 2, ready, go. So just give us 30 seconds to do the confirmation and we'll continue. Thank you. Okay, I think I'm audible enough, and I think we should start. I'm just crossing my fingers to really be sure that we are audible. Okay, thank you so much, ladies, and maybe a few men that may join this call later. Welcome to our first webinar for the year. I think we should do some drum rolls right here because I'm super excited that today was planned and we're right here. It's the 26th day in the month of January 2025, and Media Girls Nigeria, this is our first webinar for the year and first webinar of the first month of the year. So it's double celebration. So if your hands are not too busy, I want you to put it together and make some noise. You can type your favorite emojis. You can type your favorite lines in the chat room on YouTube. Let us see that you're around. Let us see that you're there. Media Girls, send messages to people that we are starting now. We just want to hit the nail on the head and kickstart proceedings immediately. Please tell your friends, share the link, let people get on this call immediately. It's on YouTube. We have shared the YouTube link across platforms. Let people join, let people know that we're ready to learn, we're ready to fly and even soar. Because in 2025, we don't want to crawl anymore. We want to soar on the wings of knowledge. And that's why we're bringing someone very, very important to kickstart the year for us. Guess what? Today, we're talking about something very important, and it's about opportunities. There are different quotes on opportunities that we see all around us, and it's about harnessing those opportunities and making them count for us. But how do we harness opportunities that we've not even accessed in the first place? So today we're going to look at how to access such opportunities, especially in the media space, and how to eventually harness them to make sure that they work in our favor. My name is Oludolapo Adewale. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. If you don't know me, I say welcome to my world. I like to introduce myself as Remi Mimi. That's my name, Oludolapo Adewale. So you're free to call me Remi anytime you see me. I'll gladly accept it. I'm a diction and public speaking coach. I'm a broadcast journalist. I think I should have started with that. I'm a broadcast journalist. I'm a diction and public speaking coach. I'm a media trainer. What else do I do? I like to call myself Polytechnic because I do Winishing, you know. But today is not about me. I'm here to moderate the proceedings, but the person that would do the talking, the person that has been bestowed the gift of talking today is none other than an international journalist. As I talk about her, just be clapping and giving her the hype and the accolades. International journalist, winner of so many awards. There's still one that is fresh from the pot in December. She went not only representing Nigeria, she represented Africa and represented us outside Africa. She's a filmmaker. She's done mini documentaries, full documentaries on gender issues. She's a gender advocate. And of course, she's a broadcast journalist. She's a wife, she's a mom. What else do we want to know about her? She's a very, very kind-hearted person. Ladies and gentlemen, and a few gentlemen that will join us, let's welcome our guest for tonight that will be speaking on the topic, accessing viable journalism opportunities in 2025. Let's welcome Melanie Ishola. Oh my goodness.
I guess I came on at the right time, waiting for just the moment, right? Waiting for just the moment to come on.
Yes.
Good evening, darling sister. That's where to begin. A very pleasant evening to you. It's been such an amazing moment of you planning this, and it's taking you a lot of effort. I mean, an excellent spirit, of course, to bring all of this together. Your girls, your circle, your community that I very much celebrate. And most importantly, because of the name chosen for your community. A couple of years back, I started to use Media Girl to refer to myself. And almost all of my posts would, carry the hashtag Media Girl. I just figured no matter what appellation you like to get as a media professional that is female, you're first of all a girl. And in a world where we're all trying to, acknowledge the rights, lift up the importance of the girl child, it's then important for us that I'm in touch first with the girl side of me. So I really do appreciate and celebrate this community. Again, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for having me. Maybe she did too much of an introduction. I'm just a media girl. That's all I came to say. Thank you.
Just a media girl. Just the justice underlined. Just underlined. Okay. Fantastic. Welcome. Welcome. So first things first, now that we've heard your voice, we know you just came back from a competition outside the country. So that's where I'm going to take the line of questions from before I segue into the first question I originally planned. But, we have to just find a way to be spontaneous. So I'm going to ask you, you went for a competition outside the country. How was the experience?
Absolutely.
How was the experience? Let us into your world.
Oh, I love to sing. I love to sing and dance. I love to sing and dance. I do not know if you remember that I love to sing and dance, Dolapo. I mean, much as I do not know how to dance and sing, but I still love to do these two things. So in responding first, I want to dance. Like, I just want to dance. The song may not be coming right now. And the dance is essentially to say it was a fulfilling experience. And you practically are looking for what's the best way to express yourself at such a moment as this. Than just to sing and just to dance. Now, how was the experience? Let me cut straight to the chase, right? The experience was, as I said earlier, first of all, fulfilling. Number two, it was status uplifting and elevating. And then number three, it was an eye-opener. So this is something I have not said anywhere. I've tried to explain it to a few people. I got a better chance at explaining it today at church when I was trying to explain to a couple of people a couple of people who actually did support me during the competition. And then I said, it's really a bad thing if you are called a third world country. Please let me take a moment, just a second or two.
All right. Thank you very much. We will give our guests just 1 or 2 minutes to get back to us. But in case you just joined us, what we are doing right now is our monthly webinar by Media Girls Nigeria. And our guest today is Melanie Ishola. The question I'm asking her right now is, how was the experience like? She just went for a competition outside the country, precisely in Germany. And it was a competition by different journalists. She's back. Okay. All right. So let's continue. You were saying that you were trying to explain the whole process to some of your people in church. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you so much. So in explaining it, because of course, these were my people. And I could then be as real as when I said to them, as a journalist, we've always talked about the first world, second world, third world country. For political correctness, in fact, we were told to use developing countries and not all the stratifications of the first, second, and third. But then I just got straight to the chase and said, it became very clear to me that it's a terrible thing to be called a third world country. One of the things that happened were a few barriers to my success in that competition. And it was right in my face that I could see it. The number one thing was the internet barrier, or yeah, I wouldn't say network, it was internet barrier. The second thing then was, of course, language. We have not so much control over the language barrier, but let me speak to the internet barrier. Internet in the sense, so a number of people would be chatting while the event went live and would say, oh, this is the event going on right now. But then where I was seated at the back end of the event hall, the platform, I knew that we were already some 3-5 minutes ahead of what was being seen by my people back home. So of course, when it came time to vote, there was also the lag that was experienced, coupled by the fact that the flyer was first displayed in German language, which of course was not something my people could understand for about the first 5 to 6 minutes of the display, and about the last 5 minutes of the display coming on in English and then German, alternating it like that. And essentially, I felt like that already was a sort of, I'm trying to use the right word, not to exaggerate. Yes, but it was a sort of exclusion, to put it subtly, right? I do not want to say unfair, because I knew to a great degree what the competition was about, the tenets, the expectations, that it was going to be in German language. And the planners did try to provide a back-end platform where people could follow in the English interpretation of what was being said. But in actual fact, we all may understand that that's a tad bit complicated, usually, for most people. Yeah. So just to put it in a nutshell, I felt the weight of coming from a third world country. Not that I read it in a paper, not that I saw it in a movie. And, you know, we've seen Viola Davis, we've seen the likes of so many of them, I may not be able to remember their names now, Oprah Winfrey, talk to you about the fact that it's a different thing to be a woman, but it's practically a different thing to be a Black woman. I've been making posts about belonging in that room ever since I went, but I'd say the bigger post that I'm yet to make is the fact that I went on that stage different from every other person who was there. We were just 2 female, but I was the only Black female on that stage. And it matters, and it is different.
I think that deserves a round of applause as well.
Audience of all white faces. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So that's actually inspiring. That's actually inspiring. And I'm glad you shared that story for us. That's why I said, let's take that as starters for today's conversation, because we're going somewhere in today's conversation, and we have young females in the media who are on this call right now, or who would watch later. And we want to pick 1 or 2 things in your story, because people learn through stories. Not just theories here and there, but actual things happening to actual people. That's where we get our nuggets from. And I'm glad you're sharing the story. So let me go still about stories before we go into like the nitty-gritty of why we are here. Just in 2 minutes, can you just, I know it's a big deal, but in 2 minutes, can you compress your journalism story, your journalism career so far? Can you compress it in 2 minutes, like how it started for you? I know 2 minutes is a very small thing, but let's say 3 minutes. Can you compare? How did you find journalism, or how did journalism find you?
That's right.
I know why I'm asking that is someone will be listening and is still in that level of confusion and wants to know how to really make something out of this.
Thank you so much, Jesse. So I answered this sort of question by saying I started journalism at a time when I didn't know how to say, good morning, you're welcome to the news, or good evening, here is the news at 7. It was 7 p.m. news at NTA back at Ogbomoso, and I'd get on saying, good evening, this is the news at 7. I am Abiola Ogunshola, my father's name, way back at the university in Ogbomoso. And that was on the community television, the Nigerian Television Authority. And that because, okay, let me start by saying I cannot deny the impact of my background on my choice of becoming a journalist. I was born by a journalist's father, raised amongst a lot of very senior, if I can say, mommies and daddy journalists at the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. And so that possibly played a key role. But beyond that was, I'd say there was an epiphany when a sort of aha moment when during one of our holidays, I bet it could even be is it, what's this strike? Nigerian NUC, NU, yeah. And not NLC, the lecturer strike back at school. I guess it was one of those moments where ASU, thank you. I didn't know one mentioning NLC, ASU. And so, you know, you'd stay back, you'd have read all the storybooks you could read, you'd have visited people you could visit. And I mean, I just resorted to reading papers. And on one of such evenings, reading, and of course, reading was one of our go-tos, how I was raised. And I encountered an article that literally set me free and made me realize that I literally could be anything that I wanted to be. And I knew that instant that I was holding myself back by the bound of being a science student, because that had been the dream sold to us. And I needed to study mass communication, rather medicine, according to my father. And I needed to be a medical doctor and all of these things. And then it occurred to me that in spite of what I was studying, I still had the freedom, I had the liberty to be who I wanted to be. And that was it. In 100 level, back at school, I recall it was your sister, Dolapo. It was your sister, Bimbola, who had just said to me that she went to the NTA Ogbomoso and that she was starting news reading, blah, blah, blah. And this was already months after the epiphany I had. And then I said to myself, I could do the same. I could do the same. And Bimbola was so gracious enough to say to me, go at so time, you'd meet so person. And I did go. And I'd end by sharing the story by saying that on the set day when I got there was a certain Baba Olalemi, who was the head of the newsroom, who said to me, no, it couldn't allow me. And then I was leaving. But just before I left the premises of the Nigerian Television Authority at Ogbomoso, the man sent for me to come back. And when I went back in there, he said he was willing to give me a chance. And he added this, he said, because I do not know what you may become in the future, and I don't want to stand in the way of that. And that was how it all started.
Fantastic.
And in fact, speaking of this story now, I should look for the particular Baba Olalemi. I think it's a great season to look for him and give him his flowers. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. And, you know, this is one of the things that is dear to my heart. Anytime when I was still in active radio and TV, it looks like anytime I see people who are interns and NYSC. So one of my colleagues once said that it looks like they made my blood tickle anytime I see interns and NYSC or graduate, so to speak, that I'm always drawn to them. I'm always drawn to them because when some people are saying, oh, don't open the studio for these young ones, they will mess up your program. I'm always like the opposite, like let them come. You know, when Jesus will say, let the children come to me, that's always my default setting, because I know these people,
unto me,
they need that opportunity, and you can't be the person in the way of their progress. Who knows what they will become in the future while you're still saying, oh, I'm the man or woman of this studio. I know everything. So we must always pave the way for other people. Fantastic story. Fantastic story.
Absolutely.
So now let's go to this question. The opportunity, the competition you went for outside the country was a journalism opportunity you accessed. Now, I want to know,
absolutely,
how can young females in the media or men that might listen to this as well, how can they start seeing these opportunities? So let's break the question down. where are these opportunities? Maybe I'm going to go the 5 W's and H route. Where are these opportunities? Who can access them?
That's fine.
What are these opportunities called? Where can we find them? So let's go that route.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, okay, so I should have started from the get-go by apologizing for the way my voice sounds. Usually it's a lot more sonorous than this. Of course, maybe not as sonorous as Oludolapo, Remi does.
Your voice is unique on its own.
Sonorous. But I've had quite a week. I know, darling says, I know, just as yours, right? But I've had quite a week of traveling. Dolapo, I returned from Germany on Monday, the 20th, and left for Kenya on Wednesday, the 22nd, and returned on Friday, almost midnight into Saturday. So it's been quite a week plus of traveling from was that 16th, Thursday, 16th of January until the 24th or so of January, right? So it's been back to back, not a chance to rest and all of these things. But I believe one of the most important questions you should ask is what you just asked. Where are these opportunities? You know, this question is $1 million question because they say to you, follow Uno road. And I just said that in Pidgin, right? You just cut straight to the chase, you know? I believe you wouldn't forget that. Follow Uno road, right? I recall a couple of years, and I mean, just as I've said, it's been a long time coming. And you're on the grind, you're working, you're here and there. I mean, shortly after I worked at a radio station, Dolapo, you also did, and you can recount what the experience was like, how sometimes traumatizing some of these spaces could be, and how you have to fight hard as a female professional to put your head above the water, keep believing and saying to yourself, you can still make something great of your career. And I recall reaching out to a colleague who's been flying. Has been flying high. And I was at a point where I felt I was tired. And then I said to him, I just really need to talk to somebody. And I believe you've had quite a great grasp of your career. If there were tools, strategies you could share with me, I'd appreciate. But equally, that if there was a secret to everything, that it would be great for me to have it. And was so gracious enough. He put a call across to me from the WhatsApp, Facebook message I'd sent across to him. And then, I mean, that call changed the entire trajectory of my career. And one of the things that happened was, though it was a contemporary, a friend, but of course, his results spoke louder than mine. He had at that time, and still does, had more results than I did. I beg your pardon, the Yoruba in me sometimes flies out with the high, all right, than I did. And it just broke it down for me. But one or two things he said to me, I won't forget, that I want to say this evening, is number one, it says, Melanie, follow the money. And that sounds very unprofessional. But I say to you, essentially, it is the most professional advice you could hear. Now, when we say follow the money, what does that mean? So half the time, journalists are frustrated about creating best pieces possible. My first documentary was Don't Cut Her, but this became possible, I mean, beyond some other background gist of me having a feeling and knowing, because again, I'm a woman of faith, that I should pursue that story. But because I equally forged alliances within the media space that made it possible. I didn't own a camera. I didn't know how to edit. At that time, I was not a multimedia journalist that I now am. And I just collaborated with a colleague in the space that I belonged to. But most importantly, I recall my mother, of blessed memory, dashing me a whopping sum of 100,000 naira. That was December of 2019. And you'd think that money was $1 million. And that was the money with which I began to do the story. Now, when I said follow the money, and I'm bringing you to a sort of background regarding money, I'm going somewhere. And so my mother then said, I just want to dash you this money. I'm like, oh, mommy, say no further. The father confirmed what I believe my leading was regarding telling the story, and I went to the field. But I tell you, there are scores of brilliant, even more brilliant journalists than that, but didn't get the opportunity, possibly didn't get anybody to give them such money. And I recall 100K was soon spent on the field. And then, of course, I would recourse to my husband, sometimes harassing to send me money whilst on the field. But then I did tell the story. But it made sense when my said mentor said, follow the money. And it also makes sense when I'm saying it to you. Now, I've equally done other stories after then that are equally as important. But because I got funded to do them, it was easy for me to do. If you limit the stories you do only to your newsroom stories, you would sometimes be limited. And for anybody who's possibly thinking, oh, I want to be traveling too. I want to tell the stories that have international relevance and importance. Trust me, there are no international stories anywhere. Every story, every journalism is local. Every story is local. So find the local stories that have a sort of international angle and beyond angle, an international sort of audience that could find its own audience, stories that could find its own audience internationally, and pursue these stories. I'm ending this whole nugget by saying, so I said follow the money because indeed, a lot of these stories are not in cities where you live. You most of the time have to travel to villages and go far and wide. And to do these things, you need money. And I can bet you your salaries would not cover for them. So when opportunity links are shared, and there are scores of them, that would also fund you to tell these stories. Please a second. I beg your pardon, I have a toddler, so yes, toddlers will be toddlers, right? So
of course. Of course, they are welcome. We know them. We love their distractions sometimes.
Absolutely, sometimes. Yes. So yeah. So I put all of those together in just one. I think I've said quite a bit, but do not forget that I'm very intentional about harping on follow the money. Because if you do not have money to pursue your stories, it will stop you. And let me clarify, let me put a caveat. If I say follow the money, I do not mean the monies that the politicians would give you. I think I'm a bit notorious for not collecting money from politicians. A lot of my journalist colleagues do not agree, but I don't. The brown envelope thing, I don't do it, right? So I believe it helps you stay focused when you know that you are not following a 20K, 10K here, but there are bigger opportunities that abound. With your names on it, you will be shocked. I've once missed a flight to an international conference in Tanzania, January last year, that before I left the airport, whilst I missed that flight, before I left the airport, a new ticket was booked for me. It was that important for me to be there. That instant, I looked at myself, looked at my husband, looked at God, because we were both figuring out how to raise the money to, make the trip the following day, seeing as I just missed the flight and it was a return ticket. Whether or not I went with that flight, the return ticket was still active. So I just needed to redeem my name and my integrity with thought by trying to figure out how to get a few $1,000s to book the flight ticket to Tanzania. But then the said organization said, Melanie, we need your input. We need you here to come and talk to us about local journalism and radio's input to local journalism. And voila, that day, I understood that the impact and the importance we have as journalists within our local spaces, they are essential and they are not local in scope. There is nothing local about what you do. Everything you do put on a global scale is very international. So I do not look forward to people saying, I'm just a disc jockey at a radio station. Hello, you're on the international map. What I just do is to give or do the time check on our radio station. Oh, you're on track. Do the time check, do it excellently. Who knows what story may come from your just, hello, good evening. The time is 6 o'clock, right? Who knows what beauty, what glory would come from that? So I say this to say to you, overall, follow the money. And in talking about following the money, I've equally said, follow who know road. They come hand in hand. And as time goes on in this conversation, we'll be sharing a few platforms, for these opportunities.
Fantastic. Follow the money, follow who know road. And that's why we're calling on you who knows the road. And that's why we are bringing you here so that people can see the road that you have treaded and see, oh, this are the pitfalls, or this are the speed bumps, so to speak, and something they can avoid or something they can latch onto. And that's why you're here. I like when you said, find the local stories and that international audience can find themselves in. There's always an international approach to even stories we call local, stories we call things around us. Fantastic. Yes. And I like how you mentioned things about brown envelope. I remember in journalism school, this was talked so much about that, brown envelopes.
Yes.
Really, when you said not collecting it makes you stay focused. It's a sad state that we see in the media right now, where people are not being paid very well, and journalists just say, okay, if my organization is not paying me well, then I can make do with just chasing people who would give them money. The first experience I had, seeing people just go for the money right in front of me, was trying, okay, I don't want to go.
I know, right? Not going
I was a young
the real
journalist.
Details, but
I was
just paraphrase it and tell us.
I was stunned. I stood like this. I was looking at the people, hustling for the money. It was not even like, giving them with class and everything. That was when I said no. And I didn't have money.
Yeah.
I didn't
that
have
was when
money.
You said you wouldn't be that journalist. You wouldn't be that journalist.
Because I thought I had much class. I wasn't on any salary. I wasn't a rich journalist. I was just a young girl hustling. But I just saw that approach. I said, no, I'm not going to be part of this at all. I just kept it. It was just one of my defining moments. I said, oh, if I'm going to collect money, it has to be for the work I've done. You're paying for airtime, paying for my production and everything. Yes. That was my resolve. Well done. So now let's go in the line of what you've said. Are there specific platforms that Media Girl should look out for? Let's go and say www. blah, blah, blah,
Absolutely.
blah, blah.
So this is what I'm doing. Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And there is so I'm not going to complicate it. I'm just going to give them one. It's surprising. Okay. One. I'm just going to give them one specific, where is it? I'm going to.
I've made you a co-host in case you want to share.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do now. Okay. So I'm sharing in the chat box. So there is this idnet.org. People possibly a lot of journalists know it, but then maybe not everybody knows how to navigate it. Now, when I started seeking for these opportunities, according to my mentor back then, what I'd do was, like, after my Bible, after praying, after, of course, attending editorial meetings and whatnot, making sure that I tick the bucket list of things I must do in on my job for the day or the week, as the case may be, I'm always on idnet.org, browsing, surfing, looking for opportunities. Now, there are a lot of opportunities on there that would surprise you. And the other time when I said, even if what you do, right, is, hello, good evening, the time is 6 o'clock, you'll be shocked. From this platform, I've shared opportunities to people who are equally not journalists, that I say it and I know this is what you do. Writers, even fiction writers, artists. Recall I do an advocacy, Don't Cut Her, and I do art advocacy. I recall my 2021 advocacy, Clit Art, where we took to the streets of Lagos, Oyo State, and Lagos and Oyo State, drawing the clitoris to educate people against the practice of female genital mutilation. So I brought together artists that helped me to achieve that. And from that moment until now, I've shared opportunities with them that they've continued to pursue. So I then know that this is a very viable website where there are a lot of opportunities that make it on there. Lot of opportunities make it on there. Lot of opportunities make it on there. Streams of different websites and platforms into that place. Lot of international media organizations post their opportunities on there. The reason I'm doing this is I love to simplify things. If I were to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 websites, links, I believe for me, it wouldn't drive home my point a lot easier than if I just did one. You see this one for now, and in fact, it's maybe all you need to have. And followed quickly on that, let me say that you then equally need to look at what your skill sets are. Do not exaggerate. Do not overhype yourself, but actually have enough confidence to be able to properly view what the skills you actually possess are. Sometimes you possess the right skills, but because in your local space, they do not hype you enough to know that you have the skills, then you are not pursuing these opportunities. So yeah, as soon as you do a correct analysis, SWOT analysis, that would be your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and you are clear as day. Go on there, follow the links, search the kind of opportunities that appeal to you and that you know that you can follow through to the letter. Recently, I got wind of some colleague in the media space who was chased off an opportunity because he couldn't stay committed. That would be, right? Stay committed to what it took to complete possibly that fellowship or something. And this happens sometimes because people then become greedy. Then you find them taking on too many things than they can handle. Now, for starters, I would say apply vastly. Apply as many as you can apply for. Trust me, when all of this started, I was getting more no's than I was getting yeses. Oh, this email response would come back and it would be, oh, thank you for your application. We regret to inform you. Another day, oh, we're so sorry to say to you. Another time, we're sad to say to you, it was fine. I took them in great strides. And then after a while, a yes here, more no's, a yes there, more no's. And in recent times, it is more yeses than I have no's. Now, here is one of the things that has made it so. I have equally not been applying too much as that anymore. So I'm applying to like the A grade opportunities now and applying to just a few of them because I'm telling myself, if they all come through, how many of them can I truthfully commit to? Do
so
not forget.
You're now sieving. You're now sieving now.
I am now doing that. But I advise everybody who's getting on this journey, do not sieve. Go for all. Why? Because they will teach you how to apply. That is how you would. So when they give you feedbacks, you understand what you've done wrong, and trust me, you won't do it again. If you do it again, you won't do it a third time. It's a learning curve. So apply as, in fact, wake up applying. I will put my husband, him and I will be applying and say, please help me write this. How better can I write this? I'll do the draft. It will do the grammatical checks. It will do, I'm like, oh, time is fast spent. And the truth is, some of these opportunities you won't even know until it's almost, expired. So just before it does, push yourself. Nobody's coming to push you. Push yourself. On some days you apply for 2, on some just keep applying. After a while, it will be clear to you what your niche should be, and you stay there. Of course, let me also say, do not apply blindly. Just as I said, do the SWOT analysis. But then when you now find opportunities that agree with the outcome of your analysis, please run after them. Run. And do not be discouraged. I'm not going to say to you there may be no's. There will be no's. There will be lots of no's. But keep it going. Just keep it going. All right? I know the beautiful thing about the no's. You're the only one who knows about the no's. No other person does. So, hello. Keep your no's. Use them as pedals to keep pushing and run. Keep running after it.
Yes. A no is a leapfrog into the yes at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
After so many no's, one day they will say, instead of saying we regret to announce you, just say we announce to you that you are
Voila.
So I'm saying that from the mouth of our guest today, and I'm speaking live into anyone watching to say, after so many rejections, you're going to get that acceptance for that opportunity that you so much desire. It could be a dream job you're considering. It could be that journalism opportunity that you're so much desiring. It will come to you. Just keep pushing, keep doing. Okay, so now let's say this year, a media girl gets an opportunity, writes the application, and sees that she has been selected. Sometimes when I see fellowships, I've done quite a few, let's say a few, so to speak. When I did, all this ones we do with UNICEF, all this, what I did one also with Solutions and Data Journalism, where we had to work on some stories. But for some of my friends that I see that pursue all these things really deep, some of them like drop on the way, where the task, the fellowship requires them to write like 10 stories within that period, but they can't meet up. So they wouldn't get the grant necessary or things that are tied to that thing. So how then can someone like a media girl who gets this opportunity, how can she maximize it that at the end of the day, it will be a win-win for the person that granted the opportunity in the first place and you, the media girl? How can we maximize such opportunities when they come?
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is a key question because we can keep motivating ourselves and shouting, and the core of it is do the job. Nike, the popular slogan, just do it. Now, when they say just do it, it sounds like, yeah, of course we're going to do it. Trust me, often it's not easy to do. Because again, most of you ladies are in some organizations working, right? And Dolapo, there is an interesting trend as well. There are freelance journalists who do their jobs, submit them to a few local or even possibly international media houses, but actually pursue after these opportunities and make a great living of these opportunities. Because just as you know, a major challenge in our time here is that journalists are not being paid. And it is worse for female journalists when they are not being paid. And then it then brings you to the arena of, are you going to open your skirt just to keep the job going? And a number of us have done it. Dolapo, we're being honest before we got to where we got to, right? So, but grateful that we didn't take that path, but we can gladly say it wasn't easy. If I can sing a song, though I don't know how to sing. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
Yes. Because the eyes should just be on the prize. Like,
on the prize.
I can't sell my muscle. I can't sell my dignity for a morsel of bread.
I cannot. But the temptations will be there, and it's worth talking about for our media girls, right? But to say a way out of it is this. The documentary screening I went for in Kenya and returned 2 days ago was a documentary I pursued as part of my membership of the Global Short Documentary Forum with One World Media. One World Media is a United Kingdom, I think it's a media non-profit or something like that, right? And we were tasked to do this story about 6 months ago. And it's a collaboration between Kenya and Nigeria. And what they did for the first time was to bring a filmmaker and a print journalist together in a cluster. So we have 3 clusters of a print journalist and then a filmmaker. A print journalist, a filmmaker, right? And we both came together, collaborated, and told this story. And the story is a short film, 10 minutes. Our own cluster did a story called Dry Again, how this non-profit is repairing women with fistula. It was based on a non-profit in Niger State, Nigeria. And we traveled as far as Kwatangura, where there is incessant kidnappings, right? And it took a whole lot for us to do that story. It took telling ourselves it was worth telling, worth doing, worth going to Kwatangura for, because we could very much have stayed in Mina and not get the juice of the story, like if we were to go to Kwatangura, which we did. And God did support us, because just days after we left, there was a kidnap. 5 vehicles lumped together. Yes. Even though, of course, we did our bit, did our due diligence, went with security officials and whatnot, But I bet you that would not be enough if it was such an unfortunate day. But I'm grateful today. However, again, I'd like to say no story is worth dying for. We did our due diligence, gathered intelligence, but overall, God took control. However, I said all of that to be able to say, because of what it takes to do the job, that's why I went through that route. What it takes to do the job. And how sad it is when you now drop off, you're not able to. Now, it is human for that to happen sometimes. But do not make that your pedigree. Do not make that your integrity. Do not make it such that journalists within their circles will then say, oh, that's how we did on so opportunity. Oh, that's how we did on so fellowship. Now, let me concretize my story. When we started this fellowship, one of us from Kenya dropped out and said it would not be continuing just before we were commissioned. I mean, somebody would sit back and say, okay, why would they say so? Yada, yada, yada. And that then gave opportunity to somebody else to be on the story, right? From amongst, because there were 12 of us who made it in the ab initio, but only 6 of us got funded to tell our stories, right? And so, but when we started the project, Dolapo, I understood that the guy stayed true to himself by saying no, it couldn't continue, right? So in saying no, it then empowered him to be able to allow somebody else. Now, when we started the project, we soon realized that it wasn't for the faint-hearted. It took a whole lot for me to do that story. It took my holiday, my Christmas, my New Year. There was a season, there was a day, Dolapo, I left my editing suite overnight, having edited overnight, and I drove myself to the hospital to be admitted. Over the same weekend,
What?
Yes. Over the same weekend, 2 of my children came on admission with me and joined me there. Sad enough.
You're making us to see the other side of being a journalist, a female
because
journalist.
You have to do the job, because you cannot give an excuse. And there are deadlines, there are timelines, and this is a film. Anybody who knows documentary filmmaking, it is taxing. It will take the whole of you, right? It is not just a regular media story. Documentary has a lot of components that has to go into the edit. And it took us also sometimes sending somebody else back to the field for some of the shots that we took. We did a wrong hire at the start of the project. We came back to realize that half of our shots were useless. Having taken that risk, imagine going back. Of course, I couldn't imagine it and we didn't go. But eventually we found a way around finding a local videographer whom I could groom, talk to, and extract what I truly wanted, even in spite of my grooming. He conducted one interview twice. He had to go back again to conduct another interview for the gynecologist because he just wasn't getting it. And this is what it takes. The resilience, the grit, because it would come to a point where it would be most easy for you to say, Cuckoo, kill me because I'm not doing it again. But you cannot, because your name is on the line. Your integrity is on the line. And you have to do all that it takes. So this is what it takes to perpetually be a winner on this path that you're about to get on. Just do it. I'm sorry, Gen Z.
Just do it.
Gen Z's, just do it. I have found that a lot of Gen Z's are full of ideas, passionate, driven. I love their energy. But what it takes to do the job goes beyond the paparazzi. Please get to work. It won't be smooth and all easy, but just do it.
All right. Thank you so much for that charge. Just do it. It's not promising to be all rosy. You know, sometimes we see the glitz and glam of being on TV, of being heard on radio, and people actually put in the work behind it. So please, it could be daunting at this stage, but you know, there's a point where you reap the rewards of what you're doing. Okay, we have like less than 5 minutes to go on the program. Well, it's a program. When we are talking about journalism, everything around us talks like TV, radio. So I would call for questions now. Please drop your questions either on the YouTube page, or if you're on the Media Girls WhatsApp group, please drop your messages or your questions there. If you would like to be part of the Media Girls Nigeria group, all you have to do is send us a message on Instagram at Media Girls Nigeria. Go to the Instagram page, drop your message there saying, hello, I would like to be a part of the Media Girls Nigeria group, or you just drop your phone number as well. You can go to my YouTube channel or my social media platforms as well. I would link you with the community manager, that's Priska, who would do the adding and of course the asking of questions. My Instagram handle, you can go to oludolapo.dictioncoach or oludolapo_@Diwali. Melanie, I have got a question already. And this question is from this person. She says, please ask if funds are attached to these opportunities. Please ask if funds are attached to these opportunities. So
I'm happy to take it away. I'm happy to take it away. This is the part where I'm excited.
Then the second
question.
I am not lying
to anybody here.
I have a second question to that. So let's quickly attend.
Plenty money. Okay. And now it's exciting.
Let's break it down. Are there funds for me to pay in order to access
no.
Okay.
Oh, I thought the person meant are there funds given? Yes. Okay. I mean, the documentary story I told you we just went to do the screening in Kenya, for example, came with $7,000. It was a $7,000, documentary, 10 minutes short documentary. Of course, the money was not there for us to eat, if you get what I'm saying. But the truth is, the laborer is worthy of. Please help me with that scripture in proper context.
His
wages. Yes. So in the end, in putting together the budget as well, these organizations know that you would get something off it. So there is equally a lot of transparency and accountability. And One World Media's project taught me a lot of accountability. The money was not released at once, it's in tranches, and they want to see the breakdown of how we're using and spending it. And what they've done is to keep a tranche away until all projects have now been submitted. And what they're trying to do, I believe, essentially is to say, when all has now been done, whatever is left that we're paying after could then be for the stress that you've been through. So for me, these opportunities are there and you would maximize them. In fact, let people not make it so high. Some of this opportunity will just give you 100K to do the story. The story is possibly in your backyard. You do the story, everything you spent is barely about 20K, and you're good. And you have the rest with you. But what we are saying is you have a great opportunity to be a fine media journalist that has integrity. And I think that matters. Now, in my organization, I work with Punch newspapers as the head of programs, Punch Videos. And when we're doing our orientation, just for new members of the organization, I recall one of the arguments was, now everybody knows Punch journalists are not encouraged to take brown envelopes. Now, would there be bad eggs? Of course, I think they'll be everywhere. But one of the arguments was, so for those of them who have a great career not taking brown envelopes, what are the perks? These media opportunities come with travel opportunities. How much is the travel ticket to Berlin, Germany? How much is the travel ticket to Nairobi, Kenya? My salary cannot fund these things. Now, an opportunity to get on and take the world because you've chosen to stay consistent and ethical in your practice of journalism. Why not, if not? So, yeah. So that's the dream we're selling, really. That's the dream.
Fantastic. I really like that. It looks like, I've been in journalism for some years and I'm gaining new insight from you. And I know you. This is about saying that no matter how close you are to someone, it's always good to listen and listen to learn. You cannot say, oh, you are an island or you know so much about something. Always listen and listen to learn. Like Melody said the other time, follow who know road. Asking questions. There's something in our Yoruba parlance that says, whoever asks for direction will not miss the road. But sometimes, in Lagos, Nigeria, that's in a modern way.
You're more likely to miss your road.
You miss your road. But in a sane climb, you're not supposed to miss your road. So as we close, I want to also ask, there could be ladies here who are saying, oh, I don't want health stories. She's a anti-female genital mutilation expert. She's a gender advocate. I don't want to do all those stories. I want to do music. I want to do entertainment. Are there
Absolutely.
opportunities for entertainment journalists? Are there opportunities for film journalists? Like maybe I'm just doing movie reviews and that's what I want to be writing about. My mind is in science. I want to be reviewing things about the latest science discovery. Mine is in law. I want to be writing something about the legal situation in Nigeria. Are there niche opportunities like that apart from just like
there
are,
darling sis. And IJNet, that link I have given you, that's all that you need. Get on there. Just as I said earlier, artists, even fiction writers, right? You know, we're in the world of non-fiction writing and storytelling. Even fiction storytellers get opportunities on there. How much more you? So now the onus is on you to do your due diligence when you get on such platforms. I've told you, after your Bible, your Quran, your editorial meetings, and getting your job done, this is your next job. You will get on there, Google, browse, move around. There are links into links, into links, into links. Follow them. It is best you use this link on your laptop. Use a laptop. Use a system. It opens up wider and better to you than a phone, right? It is not limiting when you use a system. You're able to see, move, go, 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 go. And there are different niches, right? So I know that there is science, there is earth journalism, climate journalism, there is politics, there is governance, there is, in fact, there is documentary, there is podcasting, there are, the opportunities abound, they are endless. And so it's easy for you to just, which was I said, what are the skills you possess? Am I a better writer or am I a better speaker? How would I tell these stories? Would I be writing? Would I be saying it as a podcast? Would it be a documentary? Would it just be a video report? What would it be? Would it be an explainer? What am I best at? You do this job. But I do not have a skill. That is a lie from the pits of hell. Everybody has skills. Everybody has skills. Be true to yourself. Look for the skills that are yours. And if you're desirous of more, go get more skills. It's simple. You want more, you get more skills.
So someone is asking, Priska is asking, what are the skills I need to develop myself in order to be able to cover stories? So we're talking about skills. Can you just mention 1 or 2 skills that are needed to cover stories?
Number one, I beg your pardon. Number one is you need to have an eye for the news. An eye for the news, very essential. One of us back in Kenya told a story on in fact, you would almost not see a story here. The title of the documentary is The Boda Boda. Is it Boda Boda? I can't recall what the adjective was. Boda Boda is Okada in Swahili. If you go to East Africa or some South African countries, Southern African countries, it is Boda Boda. And what does this mean? This lady came on a UNICEF or UN Women's assignment to Nigeria from Kenya and found this story. That was not the story she came from. And then she said she saw some people taking up vaccinations in boxes in her hometown in Kenya. And she had a problem and a challenge with how do they convey these vaccinations in this vast landmass of all bushes, dry areas of Kano State where she went. And then she figured, what is the pathway for vaccinations, especially to keep them at their safest temperature? This was the story. You'd be shocked. When this documentary was screened, I was shocked. I had to go to Teresa and say, Teresa, you have a great eye for the news. So you have to have a great eye for story and see, let me not complicate it. It is not something complicated. It is as simple as following the news as they break in your environment, following stories that you agree with, and sometimes that you're passionate with, but it's not all about passion. It's journalism. Whether you're passionate or not, you're tasked to do the job. Just do it, as I said earlier. So when you're equipped with that, the next thing is to now map it out and say, if I was to do this, how would I go about doing this? You see, the how of doing the job is another skill that you need to get. And how do you get this? Let me simplify. If you see that you're having troubles getting it done, I did say earlier, follow Uno Road. Now, Dolapo has made it easy for you to have a stream of mentors, coaches with this Media Girls Hangout. You can essentially just reach out to any of the resource people you've had in the past and say, so this is my story, this is where I'm stuck. And you get to be led to what to do to complete your story. So start small, start telling stories, as simple as the little children in your area who don't greet. Ask questions, and that may help you. When we were growing up, we would greet every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Dolapo. Even help Yasikira carry a load into our house. Even though your mommy may later beat you and say, I sent you somewhere, why did you come back late? But now it's a great journalistic question, for example, for somebody to ask, why do children in Lagos no longer greet? And you'll be surprised what you would come up with if you did a journalistic story on this. So what was the culture? When did the culture change? What is now our socio-cultural posture? What is the insecurity intersection or security intersection with this? What does it have to do with the new spirit of this age? What does it have to do with possibly self-confidence, building self-confidence in this new generation? What really is this about? You can tell a story from there. Yeah.
Looking for stories, even in, so to speak, mundane things.
Absolutely.
That we see around. So having the eye for the news, the nose, like
nose.
my nose, having the nose for news and searching for it, even in places where other people are not searching for. And, you know, there's really no news story, but the way you see it from a new perspective, and that's what will set you apart. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough, because 1 hour of your time is a gem that we
all
can't
glory to
take.
God, sis. But you know that it is you. So yes, over and again. And because, I mean, I'm super proud of what you're doing with your public speaking coaching, with your diction coaching. I mean, come on, it's been a long time coming. Yeah. And on days like this, I can give you your flowers. Oh. Thank you for inspiring us always. You're a queen, in fact, the actual queen of consistency. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Now you're going to make me cry.
Please cry, baby.
Thank you so much, our guest. In case you just joined us, you've not missed too much, because you can watch the replay on YouTube. Our guest today, Melanie Ishola, she has dished out loads and loads of wisdom. And I must say, maybe we're still going to drag her back, you know, after she completes our world tour. Going to Germany, going to Kenya, who knows where our next stop will be. If you still have questions, don't worry. We're not going to take any questions again, but don't worry, just find a way to send your questions either on the YouTube link. I'll find a way to collate it. If she can grant us maybe 5 minutes in a voice note, we'll get it and post it on the WhatsApp group for us to learn from. Thank you so much, Melanie Ishola. She's a journalist, she's a filmmaker, she's a gender advocate, and she has different documentaries, but one of the ones that actually stands out is Don't Cut Her, a short film about the dangers of female genital mutilation, and we need to continue to speak against such practices even in our land. Okay. I also want to thank our community manager for helping us to hold the conversation together. I can see that she's been trying to put out nuggets gained from this conversation. That's talking about Priska at DMO. Thank you so much. To all the ladies that have joined either on YouTube or on Zoom, I say gracias mucho. I'm so grateful. And last but not least, to our guest again, I want to say thank you for releasing yourself to be of inspiration to young girls, to old girls alike. Everyone, we are in this field together.
Old and young alike. Thank you for having me.
You know, they will say that make the old ones shift, make the young ones breathe. But, you know,
we're not going anywhere. We're not going.
Life is in cycles, you know. But I say thank you for giving us this time, very precious time. Thank you so much. Ladies, let's do this again next month by the grace of God. We're going to return with another guest, another topic. And of course, it won't be me that will moderate. This time around, I'm going to pick one of you to moderate. God willing. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic, fantastic week. Bye.